Hello everyone, it's number again today, it's compound interest again today. We're going up in value and we're going to use a calculator. I think you're going to find this really accessible. Hopefully we already know what compound interest is, but let's go through it. Compound interest means that each time interest is paid into an amount, saved or owed, the added interest also receives interest from then on. That sounds quite complicated, but simply put, compound interest changes the amount of money in the bank each time, and a new calculation has to be worked out. So at the end of each year, or end of each month, or the period of time, we've got to then add that money to the account, and then we've got to do the new calculation. But we've got a really easy way of doing it. This is the way we did it last time without a calculator. Over a 2-year period, we worked out what 10% of the £5,000 I had in my bank account. Hopefully you remember this. And then we added that at the end of year one. So at the end of year one, we had 5,500. And then we would do exactly the same thing again, but with the new amount. So we worked out what 10% of 5,500 is. That was 550. And we added that to it. And at the end of year two, we had £6,050. Now, there is a formula that massively helps us out. So we've got exactly the same question here. We've got this this formula, this initial times the multiplier over to the power of time. Don't worry, I'm going to go over this, but we are going to need to use our calculator. The key button that we're going to need to use is this button here. So make sure when you get your calculator out, you know where that button is, and you're going to use that button a lot today. So let's go through the first example. So Mr. Warren has a savings account which has £5,000 in it. Each year it earns interest at 10% per year. Calculate the total amount of money Mr. Warren will have in his bank account after 2 years. So rather than doing it, long form without a calculator, we can use a calculator. So the initial part is our amount of money. So can we see this? £5,000. That's the initial amount. We're timesing by the multiplier. The multiplier is the 10%. Now the interesting thing here is you can see it's 1.1. Well, the 1 stands for 100%, and because it's going up in value, we're going to add 10% onto that. So we've got 1.1. 10% as a decimal is 0.1. So we have to add that to it. Remember, very important that you feel very confident about converting between percentage, decimal and fractions. So make sure you've gone and watched that screencast if you're struggling at the moment. But remember, 1 stands for 100%. That's our original amount, and then we're going to add 10% to it. So it's 1.1. And can we see this to the power of 2? That's the time. That's how long it's going to be in, how long the process is going to be. If we put that into our calculator, so we're going to put £5,000 timesing by 1.1, and then we go to this button, press that, and we put 2 into the top there. If we press equals, we're going to end up with exactly the same answer as we did before, doing it the longhand, which is £6,050. So I've done one example for you. You need to copy this out. I'm going to do one more, and then it's going to be about you doing the rest. So make sure you're confident with it. So let's look at one more example, but feel free to pause the video, copy this question out, and then come back once you've done that. So the next example is a classic sports car. Oh, I love my cars. I wish I had more money to buy them and look after them, but I don't. Mr. Warren buys a classic sports car for £45,000, and each year it goes up in value by 10%. Calculate the total amount Mr. Warren's car will be worth after 4 years. And what we'll find is when we're doing these calculation questions, when we're going to use our calculators, the term seems to go up more. You know, we could have 15 years, we could have 20 years. It's no more difficult for us when we're using our calculator. So let's look at that formula again. Initial times the multiplier times to the power of time. So the initial is going to be 45,000. So write down 45,000 timesing by the multiplier. What's the multiplier going to be? It's 10%, isn't it? But remember, we've got 100% plus 10%, which gives us 1.1. Okay, so it's 1.1 over the time, which is 4 years. So we can see that, can't we? Initial times the multiplier to the power of time, 4 years. We put all of that into our calculator. Remember, we're going to go 4,000, yeah, timesing by 1.1. We're going to press this button, and then we're going to press 4, and then we're going to press equals. And that gives us £65,884.50. Hopefully you've got that correct. Okay, everyone, now it is time for you to do the next one on your own. This, I think we might have this one and one more before we move into the quiz, or this may be the last one. What you need to do is feel really, really confident while you do it. So please pause the video now, give the whole thing a go, come back and see if you've got it correct. Mr. Warren has a savings account which has £5,000 in it. Each year it earns interest at 20% per year. Calculate the total amount of money Mr. Warren will have in his bank account after 6 years. So initial is going to be my £5,000. My multiplier is going to be this 20%, but remember I've got to add 20% to 100%, which will give me 1.2. My time is going to be 6. So let's put all of that down now. I've got my initial times my multiplier to the power of my time. Press my equals button, and I end up with £14,929.92. I think this is a really good time to say, look how much money I've made because I've saved that money at 20%. I wish I could get 20%. Not normal for a bank account to get 20%. But anyway, there you go. Okay, everyone, it is time for the quiz. There's 2 more questions here for you to really show your stuff. Really, really key that you do this without looking at your notes, without looking at that formula, that you can do it without that. I'm absolutely positive that you can. So you pause the video now, give it a go, come back and see if you got it right. Okie dokie, everyone, let's look at the answers now. So our initial was 8,000. We're timesing by our multiplier. It's 10%, so it's 1.1. And our time was 5 years. We pressed our button and we got our answer there. Mr. Warren buys a car, 40,000. So we've got 40,000. Timesing by, it's going up in 12%, so it's 1.12. And our time is to the power of 4. And that gives us that answer there. So there we go. I am absolutely positive that you've done incredibly well. So if you've done that, it's definitely time to write a revision card. If you'd like an electronic copy, get in contact me with the comment section below. As always, I've really enjoyed myself. I hope you have too. It's been a real pleasure helping you with your maths today. Fingers crossed you have a great day or evening ahead of you.